well, one thing I think a lot about is, are we making our decisions because of how something looks or how something feels? Now, in November of 2023, December-ish, when I suddenly was falling in love after being in a marriage for so long, it didn't look like the best idea to suddenly get in another relationship. But I followed my heart, and so suddenly ended up, I married John, and I'm suddenly becoming an Australian. I'm moving, I don't know if I'll become an Australian. I don't think I would want to, but I mean, you have to kind of be born into that. But I am immigrating, and so here I am now living here, and I have this amazing husband who does such an awesome job of helping me to become a good Australian by, of course, starting out. Is this the next slide? Oh, actually, I have to go back a little bit. So the sliding door moment. It looked kind of crazy for the world that I lived in, that I suddenly was getting married and moving to Australia away from my family. I have 5 adult children that are between the ages of 34 and 22. My youngest daughter's here. And I have 6 little grandbabies. So that was crazy to be leaving them for me. And, but just like those people that get in the water every morning in the bay in Melbourne and do this crazy thing, something drove me to want to be here and to want to contribute here and to make a difference here. And so here I am. And so my husband's helping me out. And so what does a good Aussie husband do? He takes his wife to the MCG. He introduces me to footy and to cricket. And my very first footy game, he took me on a Thursday night. And I was shocked that on a school night there'd be 88,000 people cheering for their band. But it was so fun. I actually did doTERRA for the first half of the game, thank you. And then after I was done doing that, then I was able to focus, and I fell in love with footy. And then the next thing he did was he took me to the cricket game. But it wasn't just any cricket game, it was Boxing Day on test day. Wow. And we were invited in the, what room?
MCC dining room.
MCC dining room.
Of course you were, John.
Which was so amazing. And I had just flown home from America just the night before, and so he was like, we only have to stay for a couple hours, but I loved it so much that we stayed the entire time. And it was quite amazing because it was so incredible to watch what happened. So I'm shaking out here, so I'm forgetting names. But Sam Constance, this 19-year-old, it was his first test match, and he went out there, and this is my first game, so I'm just thinking this is just normal, but he goes out there and he does the most audacious shot in all of cricket, this ramp shot, and he did it, how many times? 3 times in 1 over, 4, 4, 6. Yeah. I'm supposed to say these things. Anyway, I know what I'm talking about, but I really don't. It's on my card. Anyway, it was really cool, and I was really happy, and it was amazing. And I've thought a lot about that. I'm like, holy moly, can you imagine, 19 years old, there was so many people there, and half of them were rooting for India. And it was literally this guy went out into this Coliseum that was just it was crazy, but did he play defensively? No, he did not play defensively. He went out there and he just gave it all. He showed up. He knew what he had to give, and he gave it. And I was so inspired by that, and it was so exciting for both sides to feel that, because you just recognize when someone's really showing up and giving their heart and everything that they believe, they're just putting it on the line. And so it's just imagine his parents and all the people that loved him, so proud of him. And I think about that pressure, and the pressure that just helped mold him into being this elite athlete that is resetting the bar for all of cricket. And I think about like, what else does that kind of pressure create? That's the kind of the pressure that creates diamonds.
Yeah.
And that's what each of you are, and I really honor that I could sit down with each of you and very happily listen to you tell me your story, because I know that there's tears, and I know that there's a lot of laughter, and I know that there's a lot of fear that you've overcome, and I really want to hear all of your stories. And I'll tell you a little bit about my story. My story started in 2009. My husband had almost died of cancer the year before and was given a 1 in 5 chance of living 5 years in November of 2008. And I'd always been a mom, full-time mom, homeschooling, never wanted to be away from my kids. But I suddenly had a big problem. My husband hadn't been able to work for quite a while, and we were broke, like as broke could be. And my dad's best friend sent me a gift card for Nordstrom's, which is just a department store, for $250. And the last thing I needed to do was go to Nordstrom. So I took that $250 and I traded it for cash and I gave my sister-in-law $100 that I owed her, and I had $150 left. And I knew it was for something really special. And that weekend, the weekend after that, Mark and Jen Garrett, who are my doTERRA upline, they came to my house, and I had told them in August of that year that if they ever talked to me about the business, I would not be their friend, because I hated network marketing, like more than anybody. My mom had done Amway, Melaleuca, Cutco Knives, Herbalife. The last thing she did was C-Biotics, and I searched for a picture of this car she gave us during the time we were broke, because C-Biotics was shark oil, literally, and that's what she sold, one of like the network marketing companies. So I was like not doing network marketing. But Mark and Jen Garrett, they were so patient with me, and they just became my friend, and they were there for me through some really hard things that happened. And this one day they came over, and the whole time I had been pleading, like praying to know what I could do to help my family. And that whole day they were there, and I kept getting this feeling to ask about the business. And finally that night, as I was doing the dishes, I looked at Mark and I said, "Okay, will you tell me about the business?" And he's like, "No." And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "You told us you wouldn't be our friend." And I was like, "Okay, fine, I changed my mind." So he said, "We'll talk about it tomorrow. Think about it, and we can send Jen over." So the next morning, I said this big prayer that night, and I got the strongest feeling that if I showed up for doTERRA, that doTERRA would absolutely match my efforts, and that I would not fail, because that was what I was really, really afraid of. If you really boiled it down, I'd seen my mom fail, and it never really, what had been promised to her, she'd never created it into reality, and so I didn't want to fail. And so I took that, Jen came over, and she was like, trying to get her kids out of the car, and I was like, "I'm doing it. I don't know what that means, but I'm doing it. How much does it cost?" And she's like, "Well, there's this Dr. Mom kit for $150. And I had $150. And I took that $150 kit, and I turned that into a presidential diamond business.
Woo!
I actually hit diamond in 18 months, and a lot of my life looked like that. That was me sleeping in the back of a booth at a 17-day fair up in Washington that one of my team members called me. It was this young, beautiful girl from Bulgaria. She could barely speak English. She wanted to do doTERRA, and I was like, "I don't know how you're going to do doTERRA because you won't look at anyone in the eye." Like, she was so shy. So she decided to spend $4,000 on a booth for 17 days from 10 to 10, and she called me. She's like, "Can you come help me?" And I was like, "Okay." So I did. We did really well, but it came from, I remember that computer over there, like I used to sit in front of that computer and I used to just scour the internet trying to find like some way to make money, you know. And I'm kind of shortening my talk a little bit because of the time, but I had to. People were telling me, you know, you have to get a job doing this, or you have to look at doing that. And even though network marketing was not what I wanted to do, I knew what I wanted my life to feel like. I wanted to be with my kids, most of all. And I wanted to be able to make a difference. And I wanted to help be free, and I wanted to help other people be free. And that was me the day that I met Mark and Jen Garrett. Like I said, I'm shorting this talk, but I was so footloose and it looked like I was footloose and fancy free, but that morning I had been praying desperately in my closet for an answer, and then I met them at this fair, and they met me. I looked like a pirate, but but it was crazy at first. It was like I did the first Diamond Club, and I won it, and it was a lot of hurdles, and it was just nuts, and the pressure was intense because I had those 5 children, and I just had me to figure out how I was going to make it work, and so you know, let's see, I lost my train of thought for a sec. So that pressure, that really got me to Diamond. It really did, and I was grateful for that. And then life, you know, I had some crazy things happen with my children, and I really did decide I'm going to be a mom. And I really took my foot off the gas with doTERRA. And I have 6 little grandbabies too, and I didn't feel the pressure anymore. You know, I had a really good paycheck, and I had, you know, these people, little people I really wanted to be with. But then, you know, like when we get too comfortable, that's not comfortable either. You know, like whatever drives those people to get into the bay every morning, it's this part of us that's in all of us that wants to stretch and that wants to grow and that wants to do challenging things. And that part is in all of us. And it's definitely been in me. And over the last year or 2, I've just been like uncomfortable in my skin. I would start doing doTERRA, but I didn't have big enough goals, you know, and because we have to have, I think it's pressure that really grows us. And so I had to come up with something that would give me enough pressure that it would push me the way I was pushed in the beginning when I was being externally motivated. And so I had to set some big goals, and I was flying actually back to the States, and I was in that mode of praying again for some guidance, and this idea of creating 100 diamonds, 100 of my partners to diamond, came to my mind, and I was like, I have no idea how I'm going to do that. Like, I couldn't do it, and I didn't even want to write it down. But as I was sitting on the plane, I just felt it again, like, because to me, it's great being diamond, but the joy of my life has been seeing my team members get their goals. So anyway, still don't have any idea how I'm going to do that, like create 100 new diamonds, but that is my goal. And right now, it is scary. I live in this new country. I'm very far away from my family. It's not, thank goodness I'm not learning a new language. That would be way too much for me. But it is new, you know, it's a lot of new things. And there is this, I've been amazed at how everyone brings up the network marketing thing that I talk to. It's quite interesting. So, you know, I've been hitting the challenges too, but magic is happening. And I have actually 3 women who are coming to convention this tomorrow. They're getting here tonight. And I've got a little team growing, and it is beautiful to watch what's happening and to help people start to feel what they want in their life and to help them feel through the challenges. I feel like there's never been a better time to do doTERRA. Like right now, health in the world is forefront in people's minds. It is in politics. It is totally the conversation. And we are the leaders in that conversation. Like we really are. We have the answers to so many of the questions that people have. And I like to think, like, who does it serve to keep the narrative around network marketing? Like really, who is it serving? Who would want to keep that narrative going? It's definitely not. It's definitely not for the greater good of humanity to have a bunch of us free and making a difference and giving people answers that are natural and not following the narrative. But that is our task. That's who we are. And like Sam, who stepped into the arena and faced all of those people cheering for them, not cheering for him, we have people, there's millions of people all around us that are out there, that we can step out there with doTERRA and with what we have and with the knowledge we have, and we can change people's lives forever and really help them see past these narratives that have been handed to them. We're not meant to work 9 to 5. We are not, I don't believe it was ever meant to be like that. I believe that we are meant to be like, to be able to follow what interests us and to travel and to explore and to constantly be growing and stretching. And I can't think of anything that does that more than this business. I mean, every time one of my leaders brings new people in that I didn't meet, that are different than me because I didn't attract them, I'm stretched. And my world just keeps stretching. So it is quite a miracle what we get to do. And I think for us to really, really, when we get scared and it feels daunting, you know, to like really set bigger goals and up the pressure for ourselves, I just think we have to remember like where we were when we started and what a gift it was for the people to bring doTERRA into our lives and to stretch past what they knew. When I started doTERRA, it really didn't exist like it is now. We didn't have any diamonds. It was just an idea. It was an idea that existed. It hadn't fully manifested. We had a few oils and a big idea. And right now, our job is to help people have the idea, to transmute the idea of what could be for them into their lives. And I know you guys know this, but I think it's so good for us to just really remember what it is we're doing and why. And just like looking at these women, their eyes lighting up, and I'm so excited. They're texting me, they're flying here right now, they're so excited, and their lives are never gonna be the same after this weekend, ever. And I'm excited for them to meet you and to meet your teams. You are what they're gonna see. What you have created is a gift to me, and I am so thankful. And I am here, and I will do my best to contribute and to make the difference I can make here. So, the diamonds are coming, they're out there. There are so many people just like me, really, really wondering how they're gonna make it for their families right now. And there are people that only you can touch. I really love doTERRA that we do not have to compete. Yeah. I don't believe we compete at all. I believe that our people are coming to us, and I am so happy to serve all of your teams in Melbourne and in Byron Bay where I live. And I will have people in my classes, and I will take the best care of them and help them succeed in the best ways I can, because doTERRA is about changing the world, and we are so much better together. And I just am so thankful to each of you. And let's see if I'm supposed to say something. Oh, this is my favorite part. So let me go back a little bit, tiny bit. In 2023, I was on a trip, like this dream trip. I'm a horse girl, and I had a horse that ended up staying in the States when I moved. That's another heartbreak. But I got this chance to take my horse on a trip. And I took my horse to Idaho and to Oregon and to Washington and then all the way down through California. And we just had the best time ever. And while I was on that trip, a question came to me, and I kept hearing this question. And it was, how good can you stand it? And it was just like this whisper. But that question has changed my life. Honestly, I feel like that question led me here. And I want to ask you that question. How good can you stand it? Because we all know how things can be hard, and we know how to make things challenging, and we all have suffered, and our suffering stories, we could probably tell them so well. Like you saw me laying on this luggage in the back of that thing. But I think the new question for this time is, how good can we stand it? How much can we just trust in these oils? How much can we trust in doTERRA? How much can we trust in each other to help each other? And just the intention that doTERRA has, can we trust in that that's going to lead us to the people who are looking for us? That we don't have to convince people, we don't have to try to talk them out of their stigmas or what they want to believe, but we can just go with all of our hearts and trust that we're going to find our people. And we just set our big intentions, we set our big audacious goals, and then we just believe. That we just believe that it's happening, and we just believe we just show up, and that we give the gifts that we have. I want to plant that question in your hearts, and I want you to keep asking yourself that, because it's only us that stops us from all of our dreams. It's only us that makes it hard. I really believe that. Even the things that we say are hard are always for us. They're always for us. And nothing that's meant for you is ever going to pass you by. And it's funny because even me being away from my kids, it's actually for me. Just like it was really hard to have Natalie and Andy come down here, but look what she made for me to land in. Yes. So I'm just grateful to each of you, and I just love doTERRA. And I'm very thankful, and now I'm starting to cry, so I'm gonna go.
Aww.